welcome to Heaps Good, where we're deciding if Ant-Man 2015, directed by Peyton Reed, is still Heaps Good or Heaps Bad. Lennon, were you excited?
Oh, like in general or to watch this movie?
Just for life.
I don't know, man. Life's pretty tough at the moment, you know, with the fuel prices going up and all that stuff. But we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about my personal life. We're here to talk about a movie that's maybe trying to be a comedy heist movie. What if we're the Italian Job, but with a bunch of ants and idiots?
I love it. There's no ants in the Italian Job?
I don't know. I couldn't see on a microscopic level.
Well, this movie has a resolution for that too, with its incredible blurry backgrounds and very wide pans, and oh god, that bathroom looks so big. The bathroom looks so big, Lennon.
I was actually going to say that I thought that the CGI
I did
that.
I was just running with a bit. I do think, okay, Ant-Man, let's actually talk about this movie seriously.
What if we held hands by the ant farm, Cam, and stole a high-tech particle from the Avengers building while it's guarded by arguably the weakest Avengers and bootleg jeans?
It is. I mean, like, I know that, you know, movies are a hassle to make, and movies do require getting, you know...
You could have got someone else. Literally anyone.
It's not even someone else. I remember even when I first saw this movie, I did find it surprising that it's the Avengers compound, and there is one Avenger there. Where is everyone? It's just Sam.
Can you imagine if, like, Cap and Wanda, they go off on a mission together, or Cap and Black Widow, and then Sam's like, oh, do you guys need backup? No, buddy, you know what? You've got the most important job of all. You're holding down the fort while we're gone.
Someone has to feed the dog. I do love that headcanon that the only reason Falcon is there is because he got left out of something very important.
Next time, buddy. Next time.
No. The next one is totally a Falcon mission. We'll need a lot of flying, and you know, Scarlet Witch and Vision
jeans
just can't make it. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I will say, like, there is a small grievance with that scene that I would have liked to see Ant-Man come up against the Avengers, like, just a couple more. And I think there's a believable way that he could have won because his powers are just so unique. Like, they wouldn't really be used to or equipped to defeating that, especially considering he's not trying to fight them to win. He's trying to just sneak in, grab that little device and sneak out. But even with that criticism, that scene was fun.
I liked it. Okay, well, let's talk about the movie more broadly, because I think that what you're touching on is actually a feeling that I have broadly towards this movie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm curious to hear just your overall thoughts.
Yeah.
Are you leaning like positive or negatively on this movie?
I think I'm leaning smack dab down the middle. Like, okay. I do have a lot of positive things to say about this movie, and to be honest, my negative criticisms feel like a little bit nitpicky, or
same.
Like it feels nitpicky, but it also sort of feels like it's not like I was bored watching this, but it did sort of feel like a nothing movie. And I don't need, like, I know last week we talked about how much I loved Age of Ultron, tying a lot of things in, but I don't need that to enjoy a Marvel film. But like this, I can't even honestly say this felt like it had none of that, because we just talked about the Falcon being in it. But do you know what I mean? It just felt like it didn't really set anything.
Honestly, you kind of took the words out of my mouth with it being just like a nothing movie. Like it's a pleasant watching experience.
Yeah.
But then it's like as soon as you finish the movie, you're like, what the fuck happened in that movie? And I think it's okay. I just think it was very safe.
Well, I remember when this movie came out, people were saying, this is the best movie in the MCU since the original Iron Man. And I'm like, we just had Cap 2. Like best not origin movie, best solo hero movie. And I was like, what? How are we comparing this?
Yeah. Also, whoever said that, you're fucking lying to yourself, honestly.
It's a fine movie. But
okay, maybe let's go through some of the pros.
Okay.
I like that Paul Rudd is basically Paul Rudd in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's just being best buds with everyone in jail. That's exactly what I'd expect. Him working at Baskin Robbins for like 2 seconds.
To be honest, that scene is funny. That's one of the biggest laughs I've had in this revisiting MCU experience thus far. I don't know why that just got me so much, but I do love that scene.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of what works with him, because you think of Paul Rudd and you don't think of a superhero, but I think what works is the fact that it's somewhat believable that he's skilled in all the wrong ways, or at least he applies his knowledge in the worst areas of his life. And I think that's a pretty interesting angle. But I think where this movie falters perhaps with him and just the humor in general, sometimes I feel like there's things or lines that Paul Rudd says where I feel like it's him just being himself, you know, him being awkward and genuine, like authentic. His interaction with Sam Wilson
Yeah.
It just felt so awkward, but just so Paul Rudd. And I thought that really worked. But then when he's at the table and he's like putting his hand up and he's just like, question, who are you? Who is she? And can I go back to jail now? I'm just like, okay, that didn't work. And it's just like when the movie's trying hard to be funny, I think that was obviously the least funny moments for me.
The times when it's funniest is when they just lean on Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd, because he is incredibly charming and ageless in physical and comedy realms.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's actually, you sort of brought up a point there where like he's using his skills in all the wrong way. You know my beef with MCU Hawkeye. Hawkeye famously being a bit of a dropkick in comics. No. Hawkeye famously being a bit of a dropkick in comics, and also he started off as a criminal in most forms of canon. Like that's how he entered the world. This, I mean, like I know that there is a comic book arc, the irredeemable Ant-Man, and that's not Scott Lang, but it is part of the Ant-Man mythos. But this to me reads like a modern Hawkeye story, but he turns small instead of shoots arrows. Do you know what I mean?
I can actually see that. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, especially with what you're describing. Wasn't there I'm gonna fucking butcher this, and I don't know why we're talking about this for so long, but basically, isn't there a Hawkeye thing where he's like either owns an apartment block or like my life is a weapon or something like that?
Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, which is like pretty much universally known as, and they used a lot of the aesthetics for the Hawkeye Disney Plus show, but like that is sort of universally known as like an incredible run.
Yeah, and it's just like what you're kind of describing with Hawkeye kind of being like a fuck up or whatever. It kind of sounds to me like what we see with Paul Rudd as Scott Lang in this movie. I don't know. I don't know if they're similar or anything like that.
No, I mean like there's the obvious differences, but I would say the version of Scott Lang that we got in this movie is pretty much how I would want MCU Hawkeye to be.
Okay.
And I'm happy. Like there's a lot of me that's happy that we got this dropkick hero in Scott Lang. Like that is one of the things that endeared me most to this, because as much as he is obviously a part of this Avengers world, he is so separate from and I love that in some heroes where it's just like they don't fit like the Iron Man and the Captain Americas of their universe. It just gives it a little bit more dynamics in terms of who can be a hero. I love him in this.
There was even a moment in that I actually really liked, because as the series or as the MCU continues, there does come to be quite a fair few like world-ending events that happen. And you're just like, the Avengers could have fixed this so easily. Where are they? Like, why aren't they here kind of thing? This is definitely an Avengers level threat. And this movie kind of addresses that, where Scott Lang at one point is just like, oh, why don't we just get the Avengers? And then
Hank's like, aren't they busy dropping a city out of the sky?
Yeah, basically, he's like, oh, do you think I want to give another Stark like access to my stuff? Like, I thought that was a really clever way of being like, yeah, let's not get them involved. And I thought, okay, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
and it kept the scope of this, even though at one point it's like, oh, it's like world-threatening stakes, but it still felt like quite a contained story, which I liked.
It still felt small, which sort of like Scott.
I tip my fedora to you, good sir.
Thank you. I stroke the chin hairs that aren't connected to my actual chin. It's on my neck.
Talking about humor as well, he's got his annoying friend Michael Pena.
I liked him in this.
I think it's so cute how energetic he is.
Yeah.
How do you feel about how he tells the stories?
Actually, I had something about this that was a wider point, but I will obviously answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
I enjoyed it as a one-timer. I think when they did it again at the end of the movie, I was like, all right, all right, we've had this joke. Yeah, we've had this joke. But no, I did like, well, okay, I guess I'll transition to like my wider point. Something that I think is fairly seamless in this movie is there is a lot of montage sequences in this.
There really is.
We have, like what have we got? We've got the getting ready for the heist montage, the initial one where with Louis and the gang.
Then we get one where
failing to be Ant-Man montage, and the later getting good at being Ant-Man montage, and then Louis's stories. We got two of those. So there's like at least 5 montage sequences in this. I don't think they don't work. I'm normally averse to montage sequences. I see them as like a little lazy, but I mean, like we talked about it the other week. I can't remember what movie there was a montage that was done really well. Captain America 1. There's a montage in that. So I mean,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So like,
and I agree with that. Yeah.
So far, these montages aren't bad, but I don't think it's until I watched this movie again and I went like, oh man, they really lean on the And I guess there's humor in it as well, like him freaking out about the ants and stuff like that.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
Scary. With this movie, so the general plot is that Scott leaves prison, then he essentially is trying to get on the straight and narrow. Then Michael Douglas's character, Hank Pym, has been watching him and then wants to recruit Scott Lang to be able to stop his protege or previous protege, Darren Cross, who ends up becoming MODOK in a later movie.
We'll talk about that then.
Yeah, but God, that's atrocious. But what ends up kind of happening is that Scott Lang gets recruited, he becomes a new Ant-Man, and then he starts smooching the boss's daughter at the end of the movie, and then basically he's trying to save the day, save the world, and also get back into the good graces of his ex-wife and her partner.
I will say the motivations though for him like getting back into crime, and this might also just be a testament to how like lovable Paul Rudd is, but I sort of forgot this part of the movie, but like remember when he's counting down all his debts and stuff and how many days, because like the ex-wife sort of says like, well, when you start paying child support, and then he has all these things he has to pay for before he gets to the child support, which Scott Lang, deadbeat dad, our first deadbeat dad hero. But like I think it was like 377 days I've got written in my notes, but like until he can see his daughter again. It's a very quick and very effective way to be like, yeah, I get why he would go back into crime. Like that makes
100%.
Perfect sense.
Yeah. It's a very sympathetic main lead and believable reasoning, I think, for why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think like the structure or the skeleton of this movie is all here, but it's just
and I can see why they lent on Scott Lang being the main Ant-Man, because in the comics it's normally Hank Pym who is the main Ant-Man. Hank Pym in the comics
actually I do like that decision to make it Scott Lang.
Well, I think like it's partially a forced decision, which I'll get into in a second, but I do like that Hank Pym has been Ant-Man previously. It does sort of flesh out this universe a little bit more. It makes you feel like, superheroes didn't just start magically with Iron Man, that there is, some history to this universe. And I think that's maybe the first time we really get that outside of, Cap, that's a given. And Thor thousands of years ago, no one cares. But I do like that, there was Hank Pym, what was it, like the 70s, 80s? Like he was doing stuff around the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff like that. Like, that's cool. But I do like how, even though it's been a mainstay of the character for the longest time, his anger issues, even if it wasn't originally a part of Hank, I do like that this Michael Douglas portrayal has that anger in him. Like he seems, he loses his temper, he punches that dude in the face in the first scene, he brings it up again later, is a bit spiteful, he even says to Darren Cross, like, I saw too much of myself in you, and da-da-da-da-da. I do like that we still have that anger in him. But I think Michael Douglas knocked it out of the park with this.
I think he was great. And I also think that for the time, I think the de-aging was actually really good as well. Like it was a noticeable improvement over the Winter Soldier when they de-aged Peggy.
Well, they up-aged Peggy.
But I think the de-aging on Michael Douglas looks way better, and it's only 1 year later.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
And even like, I remember watching this with Mum, like a year or two ago. And she was like, oh my God, is that like old footage? I'm like, are you seriously getting hoodwinked and whooped by this mum? But she legit thought it was real.
The classic boomer fooled by AI prank.
It is.
Your mum's sending you photos of rabbits on trampolines and going, wow, they're so cute.
Wow. I think overall though, I guess the only other character I maybe have a couple of comments on, I don't really have anything to say about Darren Cross. Like, he's just kind of like the mustache twirling villain. I mean, he's out here fucking zapping and blapping his corporate rivals willy-nilly. Like, what's the plan there?
Yeah.
Like, people are going to notice that this corporate suit is gone, but this movie just doesn't want to...
I do have a comment about Frank, the guy that Darren Cross turns to goop.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Now, I don't have many notes for this movie. It was late at night when I watched it, but this is important because I've put it in bold lettering. Frank, the guy that Darren Cross turns into a goop human, was pissing in a cubicle with the door open.
Yeah, what a freak.
That's important. Yeah, he deserved
it. That's kind of Chad behavior, not gonna lie. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm proud of my piece.
Get piss smoked.
That's so fucking funny.
That's why Darren Cross did it.
It's a defining moment in his career ability. And I'd also say that Evangeline Lilly, she is incredibly great.
She's good.
Yeah, she's good. I think that the Pym family is like a fucked up family in a way where they're just like so awkward, and you can tell that there's a lot of distance between them because of their fractured past or whatever. And I think that both Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly play off of each other very well. She's also pretty bitchy and mean towards Scott Lang like the whole movie.
Until they start kissing.
Until they start smooching, and then
swapping spit.
And then Paul Rudd is just like blaming it on her, as every chivalrous man should do.
That was funny though.
I did like that. I did like that part. And I think the only other real, like I've just got like really kind of random comments to make on this movie, and I think that's it. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else.
It's a nothing movie. No, that sounds negative. It's not necessarily negative when I say that, but
I just don't think there's anything I can substantially pick apart at or like praise with this movie, because, you know, I'm very curious as to what this could have been if it was done by Edgar Wright like it was originally
I did want to talk about that, because that would have been, I think, apparently a lot of his script survived, but knowing Edgar Wright's films, I think this would have been a very different movie.
Would have been way different.
Yeah, and to be honest, he proposed the film to Marvel in 2003, so he'd been trying to get this made for ages. And this is all speculation and rumors and da-da-da.
Which, by the way, that's crazy. Like, who the fuck is championing the movie Ant-Man, especially back in 2003? They're probably just like, who the fuck is this nerd? Like, we don't give a fuck about this character.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, from what Edgar Wright did on this movie, he did quite a lot of, you know, scripting. It was described as an action adventure comedy, cross-genre action with, you know, I think he is quoted as saying it would have been a special effects bonanza, which I think we did get close to that anyway, just from that very, you know, wishy-washy sort of description of a film, which I think you could probably apply to a lot of movies. But he'd been developing the movie since, you know, like 2003. He'd shooted a test reel. He started hiring cast. He was close to beginning shooting the movie. And then in 2013, 14, whenever he dropped out due to creative differences with Disney. This is about right when Disney really took over. Now, this is the speculation bit. Lots of people think that he did not want to tie it to the wider Marvel universe. So that means, like, you know, like the Falcon scene and all that stuff. Like, he didn't want it. And like, I do feel like this movie is ultimately not super tied. We've already talked about that. I feel like this movie isn't super tied to the rest of the universe. But I mean, like, you know, Peyton Reed probably just came in and went, well, I need another thingy-majig, so let's put the Avengers warehouse in there. You know, like,
yeah, exactly.
All Peyton Reed did. But yeah, I mean, I love Edgar Wright. I don't really know many movies by Peyton Reed. Isn't he mainly like a romantic comedy sort of guy? He did
honestly,
I've
got no fucking idea. Basically, the only thing I know him from is this trilogy. So
yeah.
Oh, and a couple of episodes of The Mandalorian. But,
he did Mandalorian episode. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he did a good job, but you know, I love Edgar Wright movies. I would have loved to see his version of this, and for such a strange hero. Actually, that's something else I did want to talk to you about. This is probably one of the weirdest power sets within the Marvel universe that we've got, and I think that would make general audiences maybe a bit adverse to it. Or, you know, like make even directors and creative teams like, oh, we're going to do a thing about an ant human. Actually, they did something really interesting that I sort of forgot about for the promotion of this movie. Is they released the trailer ant sized, and then the next day released the trailer human sized, like, so it's more than like 2 pixels, which I thought was very, you know, creative. Anyway, I thought you'd be really into that.
Well, I mean, I think I remember marketing where it's like billboards where it's just like literally tiny, but I can't remember if it was this one or future movies. I wasn't sure, but I do remember that they were doing stuff like that. And I think that as far as marketing goes, I think that's very clever. Yeah. I think that the kind of something that you touched on there with how Ant-Man's abilities work.
That's what I want to talk about, is how do you find it within this movie?
I thought it was great. I thought that it was like, you know, he's a everyday crim or burglar or whatever he wants to call himself. And how the abilities, like how he goes from being small to large, and how that kind of carries through the momentum of the punch, so to speak, and how that works and how they pulled it off visually. I think that it was actually really interesting. And it's almost like the power of subversion. It's like no one's ready for it, but then it's like if you fight him for 5 minutes, you know every single move he's got. He's effective the first time you come up against him, and then outside of that, it's like, okay, I think I understand your shtick now.
Yeah, I'm catching on. I'm seeing the movements.
Yeah.
It's like an Elden Ring player, only less attempts. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. But I mean, just from like a viewing perspective, I think it's such an interesting way to make things fun. Like him when he's first put the suit on, and then, you know, the bathroom scene to falling through the floor to ending up on the cabbie, on the car roof or whatever it is. It's visually exciting. I think they did a great job at keeping that like intrigue and mystery and like, you know, just making it, I guess, like fun. I don't know. It's a fun power to watch in action when you wouldn't necessarily expect it coming from the comics.
Yeah. I think it's executed well. I just don't think it's memorable. That's all. I think that there's really...
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, there's some really exciting storylines that happen in other movies, and I don't think this movie was ever really meant to be anything else but just an introduction to these characters, this moveset, and I don't know. I mean, obviously he ends up being pretty crucial in Avengers Endgame, but outside of that, I just think he's like a fun addition. He's a fun addition in Civil War. His inclusion in other movies is where I almost like him the most, and I feel like a movie like this is a nice breather, kind of like how I guess Ant-Man and the Wasp was in between Avengers Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame, and almost like Far From Home was after Endgame. I thought it was kind of like a little breather movies, and I just definitely think that this is one of them.
Yeah, because we do get into something hectic next week, but we'll talk about that after. I've sort of only really got one more thing that I did want to mention, and like, to be honest, like my main, I did like Corey Stoll as Darren Cross, but he's a bit one-dimensional. He joins the roster of forgettable Marvel villains a little bit, not forgettable, but just like flat, I guess, in a way. I did like his costume, but like, you know, that's not going to make a great movie. It's just a cool costume. And yeah, Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas were the absolute standouts for this. Evangelion. How do you say her name?
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, thank you. I nearly said Evangelion Genesis. No, she was good. She was really good in this movie. But like, I do like. So there was something that came out right after this movie was the science of just shrinking the distances between particles. And I don't know how many times I've seen scientists or, you know, bros at their home that have a small knowledge of science sort of going like, that doesn't make sense, and it's not. It wouldn't operate in this way, and why does he have weight sometimes and not have weight other times, and how does it work? I've sort of got like a meta reason is just enjoy the fucking movie. Yeah, it's a guy that gets small. Just take the explanation and run with it. Who gives a fuck? But the in-universe explanation, I sort of got a headcanon that Hank just explained it to Scott like a child, and also like is not about to tell his super secret particle science to like a criminal, because he does just sort of say, yeah, that the space between your atoms gets smaller. That's how it does it. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't think Hank Pym's really going to break it down for this guy that is just sort of hiring to do this heist so that he doesn't have to send his only daughter out there. I don't know. I think that makes a bit more sense to me. That's sort of how I read it.
Hey, that's cool, man. That's cool. I mean, I thought visually, when Scott shrinks down to the subatomic size, I thought that was cool. And it made me wonder if the visuals were done by the same team that did Doctor Strange, but...
Yeah, interesting. Especially when he's in the quantum realm. I can see some similarities there. The new fiance, I like how he's sort of got that, you know, like it's refreshing to have a trope that like the new husband or the new fiance isn't an asshole to the daughter as well. He's an asshole to his husband, especially.
He actually like gave a fuck. Yeah, and I like that too.
I like that. But yeah, the set pieces are fun. The fight's fun. You know, the helicopter fight's really fun. The bedroom fight, a bit less fun, but I still enjoyed it. You know, there's lots of good things, but yeah, ultimately a nothing burger movie. That's sort of my final thoughts. We've both given our final thoughts on this. Basically, post credits, Hank giving Hope the Wasp outfit. Okay, that's one of them. That sets up the sequel. You know, Ant-Man and Wasp being a part of the original Avengers lineup. A lot of people wanted to see that. Cool. Yep. Cool. That does the job, and the outfit looks cool. Sweet. The main one, well, the one that I think's more important and I like a lot better. Falcon and Cap have captured Bucky. This is like, I like Wasp, but this got me a lot more hyped. It feels,
fucking nice, dude. It's just a scene ripped from Civil War.
Yeah, I think the dialogue's a little different, isn't it? Oh, we'll find out next week.
I guess we will.
But like, I do enjoy this a lot because, like, you know, it is a very big plot thread of where we left Cap at the end of his last movie, Winter Soldier. And also it just feels important. Well, especially given our next week's episode, Captain America Civil War, which I'm very excited to get into.
I'm equally as excited. I thought that the post-credit scene, I really liked that it felt like the old school, like, oh gosh, I think it was, say, Iron Man 2, Thor 1, like they just pulled scenes from other movies because they were like in production around the same time. And it kind of reminded me of that here, but it was also the perfect scene because Sam Wilson's like, I know a guy, and it just goes like Ant-Man will return. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, okay, that's actually really cool. I'm glad to know that Ant-Man is going to be coming back in that. Well, obviously with hindsight I don't know that now, but it's good. I don't know, I thought it was really effective.
He's not a pump and dump, he's not a one and done.
Exactly, and it was just like, okay, he's actually going to be a part of the bigger stuff, which is really cool. So
100% agree.
Yeah, I thought this is an okay movie, and that's basically it. It was a movie.
This is our first. We've often gone about like, this is good, this is bad, da da da. We've said some bad movies are good, we've said some good movies are bad, whatever. This is our first, just like, yeah,
it's a
this movie does exist. No, so guys, enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.